Ladies and gentlemen, of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game of Fans for Sports Network. An honor, joy, and privilege to have you aboard this week's episode of the Duval Dive. Looking to have some fun. Hey, by the way, I hope you had a happy Victory Monday. I hope the coffee tasted just a little bit better in the morning. If you're not a coffee drinker, drinking tea would have made sense since they concluded the London campaign. I'll allow for that. That's fine. But this is the part where Travis and I start bringing you a little bit of reality after extending the longest losing streak of the New England Patriots in the Bob Kraft area. Did I mention Travis? Well, I suppose it is time to bring in my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, a Big Cat Country. What's going on with you, fam?
Doing well, brother. How you doing, man?
Man, listen, I am here to bring a little bit of wisdom and maybe a glimmer of hope for this upcoming Packers game. I don't know about listen, we'll get into that part of it in a minute, but I know that you're happy for two things. Well, three things, actually. All three phases of the game had something that was special for Travis D. Holmes. I'm sure you wrote about it at some point on BigCatCountry.com. I know I did as part of the good and bad and spotty of Fans for Sports Network. So with all that being said, Tank Bigsby made Travis smile. The touchdown by Parker Washington made Travis smile. This team finally getting the damn interception made Travis smile, though I'm probably willing to bet that you think it should have been at least two, if not more.
Sure.
I mean, come up with that one. You do. Just say you do. It's okay. No, it's not.
Yes. It's okay. It's never enough.
Agreed.
Yes.
So, but yeah, listen, I mean, safe to say, most complete game the Jags have played to date. True or false?
I mean, 2024? Absolutely. I don't think it's close.
Right. This season, to date, this season. Yes, correct. No, not ever, Travis. This isn't that. No. Yeah. I mean, again, it was against the Patriots, but I think this is the kind of tune-up this group needed a la 2022. To get away from the noise, to reboot, to get all that right. And goodness knows there was plenty of noise waiting for them. If they had a 4-touchdown drop game in Duval County, I think that would have been noise. I hear that.
I mean, think about how many times they've disappointed that fan base in front of their faces. Like not on the road. Like, no, we are home. We're gonna they're like 3-year-old children. They're gonna be on their worst behavior at home. At away, they may be a little bit better, but at home, ooh boy, that's a different person. So no, I understand it.
Like you invite your boss to dinner, and like they spit up the food at the table or something. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Or they literally show their behind in the middle of dinner. Yes, why not?
Yeah, listen, I don't know how I'm going to improve on that, but I'll tell you, it's hard to improve on other things because the conversation. Well, it's the running back core we're talking. It's hard to improve when you have the running back room that you do there in Jacksonville. Okay, listen, and the debate has already happened as Tank Bigsby unequivocally. I don't think there's a world where you could reject that it's the biggest turnaround on the Jacksonville Jaguar roster of a dude that was literally in the minds, or at least my mind, an automatic turnover. Now is taking himself to a place where he is taking the load while Travis Etienne's hurt in lieu of a veteran, Dearness Johnson, and he might even be getting let's just say, the running game provides balance to a passing game, but now you have to provide balance to that balance and who you're going to run where and how all that's going to look. It's a very compelling thing to have when you start talking about Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. And I think somebody on the Duval Dive live on Sunday basically asked who you got. And so we went over that. There was definitely the short we put out on the Duval Dive YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, please. We're growing steadily every day, so please make sure you do your part if you haven't yet. Do what you can to keep this thing around because I got to start the show ROI to the wife. I want to keep doing this for you guys, so help me with that, okay? But we wanted to dive into that a little bit deeper because I know we talked about Travis Etienne at times being a trade target. Potentially an opportunity where, presuming Trent Baalke retains his job as Travis is so how you say, not pessimistically, but
No, I'm
skeptically,
just,
might.
I don't care. I could be skeptic, call me a hater, call me whatever you want to call. I don't care. It's we all here.
You may not care, but I still want to be accurate. Damn it, give me my listen. I don't want to be too mean about it. Like, listen, okay, but
I got you.
I have my own integrity, contrary to popular belief. But no, listen, the piece where Travis Etienne might be on the trading block because of business reasons or whatever it is a thing. But that has urged the conversation, not only amongst the Duval devout out there, but people here who listen to this show and who are grateful for doing so, by the way, in regards to what that might look like, who you got, who do you think is the air quotes better running back? And I let you get away with giving a bit, I don't want to say a lukewarm answer, but the correct answer actually is situational, right? But
I mean, the accurate answer absolutely is situational. It's situation based.
right.
But I could probably I could just show you better than I can tell you.
Let's show don't tell, Travis. I like how you segue that. Have at it, brother, man.
So I mean, obviously you have Tank Bixby, who is I don't think, objectively speaking, the most talented runner on the ground. The most talented when you get the ball in his hands and just let that man find a hole and just be a tank. And like we've seen that all season. It's been a brand new guy. But on the flip side, the negative is in his game. Or he's not very, he can't consistently catch the ball. Like so, his hands are a question mark. Meanwhile, you have Travis Etienne, who's he's absolutely your best catcher of the ball out of the backfield. He's great at breaking tackles. Like what last year he had over 32 missed tackles. But on the flip side, pass protection, that's a problem because he's just a little bit lighter than the rest of the guys. And then you have someone like Dearness Johnson, who's may not be the runner on the ground that Tank is, but he's absolutely a quality running back. And he may not be the pass catcher out of the backfield that ETN is, but he's solid and he's a great pass blocker. So who do you got in all of those situations? Like who do you go with basically? That makes it a very difficult conversation right now for Press Taylor. As you see, he's over there just scratching his head trying to figure this out because you don't want to give tells to the defense when you have one guy on the field versus the other one, man. It's a difficult conversation. It's a difficult process to try to kind of work through. But yeah, that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, no, I'm with you entirely on that. And I'll add this element too. Like I think upside it needs to be entered into the conversation as well. And you mentioned struggles with his hands. I mean, look at the leaps and bounds he's made in a single year. Maybe the hands catching the ball is something he can work through as well, development wise. I'll throw that out there.
Absolutely, but the problem is most people aren't developing in season unless you're working like crazy on a jugs machine every day, all day. And again, that may be something that he can do, but we just haven't seen it, and it's very hard to just believe something's going to happen blindly without seeing it in application, seeing it in practice. So to Jacksonville, no, to Duval County's credit, no one believed in Tank until they saw it on the film. And that's exactly where I feel like right now with him catching the ball out of the backfield. I can't believe it until I see it because even in training camp, he had that early camp drop that went around Duval County that everyone was angry about. And now we've seen a drop in the game, and I was like, all right, cool. So that's why there's going to be issues there. And until he puts it on film in a game, catches a screen, catches a few balls, catches more balls, than he drops, is just going to be a conversation piece. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I'll add this too. You make the point about development specifically in the case of like hitting a machine or actual training, and it's a fair take. What about just good old fashioned experience? What about just good old fashioned time in the barrel, which he does not have a lot of, by the way. I know he's not a rookie, but it's not like he got a butt ton of playing time last year. Let's be clear. He ended up in the dog.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. He doesn't have a lot of playing time, a lot of experience, especially last year, but that was also because he had two interceptions, and one fumble recovery that off of his face mask or just standing still. So if your coach is on a hot seat, they're not going to give you too much a rope because they're already right here from losing this thing. So you got to go with the guys who aren't going to make the mistakes. And that goes back to that whole Dearness Johnson versus Tank versus ETN conversation. Mm-hmm. One of those guys is probably not going to make the mistakes, but he's also going to have way less of a ceiling or way less explosiveness than the other two. And that's that weird juggling factor that you kind of got to figure out, man.
Maybe we got to start looking for dudes to get drops that tick off the Duval Devout in training camp. Because another dude that had drops that ticked off the Duval Devout. And then I said on this show, the moment they expand the field away from the inside 20, people will get impressed. Maybe you guys remember BTJ being a pariah at day 2 of camp. Whoa, what a silly take that looks like now. I'm so glad I got naughty and talk trash on that short now. I don't want to get too cocky. I said it at the time, but now BTJ, and that's the reason why we're talking run game here to lead off the show, folks, is we need that balance, if you're a member of the Duval Devout, to set up a scenario where Travis Etienne or Tank Bigsby sets up the long pass for Trevor Lawrence and BTJ to deliver the bomb. Now, I mean, that balance is obviously a big deal. So,
correct. And the Jaguars this season have wanted to be, they've been heavily into the play action game. I believe at one point they were 4th in the league in play action rate. Like they're trying their best to lean into being a running team who can play action off of it. But that works primarily when you can run the ball. So you got to run the ball. You got to run the damn ball just so you can pass the damn ball.
I mean, that's fine analysis. And especially when you're going to be competing with Jordan Love, right?
Correct.
I think, who would you say, other than the Bills, that's the obvious answer, is the most balanced offense that the Jags have faced this year? Could it be the Packers when things are said and done?
I mean, the most balanced offense overall, I would say, would probably have been Buffalo, but then they weren't balanced that game. You know what I mean? Like, they've been balanced in most other games other than the time that they played the Jaguars. They just destroyed them in the passing game because Jacksonville couldn't stop them. But yeah, I would probably have to, go with that. Like, maybe Houston, because again, no one's really destroyed Jacksonville running the ball. And if they haven't had much of a passing game. So I'm kind of stuck there on that one. So I'm probably I got to say Buffalo in every game but the game they played against Jacksonville.
No, that's fair. Well, and see, here's the piece for me, and I touch on this on my keys to the game that'll drop here soon on the Fans First Sports Network. We could talk about the edge rush being a big deal.
Yep.
But I think Roy Robertson Harris's trade, and we'll talk about more of the defense and reinforcements in a minute. I know you even tweeted about that in one of my favorite tweets for you this week. But Roy Robertson Harris getting shipped, I think you know where I'm going with this, to Seattle might have been a blessing in disguise because it compelled rotation-happy Ryan Nielsen to put Eric Armstead in the damn middle. And lo and behold, in a tweet you put out, sir, you cite how much bigger a percentage he spent at D-tackle and how much more effective he was in that role. I think that's a huge deal for this game too, don't you, Travis?
I mean, I would hope so. Like that's the prayer. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, I have questions on whether or not. Well, that's not questions. I have a lot of questions. A lot of trepidation of whether or not the Jaguars can win this game, and rightfully so. They have not given much evidence that says the contrary. That they can beat a quality football team who is coached well and actually talented. So I'm not crazy to have that thought. No.
Excitement. Holy snap, Travis.
I'm sorry, but we've already established how I feel about Matt LaFleur. You see that jersey right here? That's when I played for Matt LaFleur. That is when I played for Matt LaFleur back in 2008. So I have major respect for this man and his coaching ability, and that's before my bias even kicks in. Like, the fact that they are an actual talented football team, I think they are a well-coached football team. I think he actually does coach and scheme his way around his individual players. And then we have Jacksonville, who has seemed better. Like, we've actually seemed like we've been doing a much better job coaching over these past 3 weeks. I would actually say that gives me question marks. So I don't think I'm going crazy just to say, hey man, I think the Jaguars are going to have to play a very close to the vest, a very clean game to get this done, and it's going to start on the ground, as we spoke about a second ago. It's going to start with that play action, and to your point earlier, it's going to start and probably even end with Jordan Love, because if they turn the ball over, I think the Jaguars have a chance, and I have some stats for that later.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a big part of it too. By the way, if you want somebody who's not biased, Matt LaFleur, I'll say this. You went from having a 2-time MVP to not,
Hmm.
and then your offense looked more functional.
Hmm.
Just throwing it out there.
Also lost his quarterback, had another quarterback that just joined the roster a week
Okay, yeah,
beforehand,
he was
schemed another.
right. I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah,
about that.
schemed the whole offense around that backup quarterback and won multiple games at that time. Like that is why. Like no. That's not just me being biased. That is a great coach who is showing his behind being a great coach, man.
I mean, it's rarely that you use showing his behind as a compliment, but I think that applies here. I think that makes a lot of sense. Um, we
Yeah, man.
talked about defensive front. We talked about the offense being balanced. Surely, I feel like
Okay.
the defensive front doing its part also helps those behind them, and I think it all starts there. I'm not saying anything that's
Oh
different, right?
yes.
You
Oh
know,
no, no, absolutely, man.
even
But
Ray
that's
Lewis
this is
needed
yeah. Go
Sam
ahead.
Adams and Haloti Nada. With
Yeah.
I don't know if Foye is Foye supposed to be back this week. I think he is. Is
I
it this?
mean, it's sounding like it's possible. I can't say likely because I don't think that's necessarily accurate, but it's absolutely a possibility because his 21-day window is open. That's just going to be a conversation of whether or not they actually activate him before before end of Saturday.
By the way,
I would
those listening to
guess.
the podcast, this is Wednesday. We're recording this, so maybe we'll get another detail later on injury reports as we move on. Surely
Right.
check yourself, bigcatcountry.com. Travis will keep you updated. So there you go. Continue.
Yes, but with those reinforcements, man, and again, if they can get like Dewey's an extra, that's just a bonus. That's if the White Knight returns, that is that is an absolute bonus for us right now. But if Foyer returning with obviously Ventrell Miller, with obviously Tyson Campbell just returning last week, and we saw the small boost that gave to the secondary. With
Mhm.
all these potential reinforcements coming, man, hey, that is the hope for this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Can they now do the things that they've been wanting to do all season? Can they now do all these phantom blitzes and pretending to blitz from one side and dropping other guys in coverage? Can they do all these fancy things that Ryan Nielsen did in Atlanta? Are we now able to do it because we have these guys who we trust in coverage one on one, and now that we actually have pressure coming from the interior D line because Eric Armstead is now over 50% of his over 50% of snaps all of a sudden. Like that's the first time we've hit that this year was last week. So maybe he's feeling himself after his offseason surgery and everything else. So is it all coming together at the right time? Or was it all just a mirage for last week? And we will all get that answer on Sunday.
Call me skeptical on this, but I've always found, at least in the Favre/Rodgers eras, among the more overrated offensive lines in the league, to be the Green Bay Packers, right?
Ooh.
I said what I said, Travis Holmes, but hear me out. For one, Aaron Rodgers played kind of, they say conservative. I'm just going to call it, not scared is too strong, cautious, right? He would throw balls away at the drop of a hat if something looked wrong. He would never try to force a play. And then earlier in his career, he would run for his godforsaken life and lead the team in rushing oftentimes, right? So, I mean, everybody dropped David Bakhtiari's name, and he was clearly the best on the O-line. But, yeah, when they won the Super Bowl with Rodgers, that group was not a stout group. It's one of the – if you were to line up all the offensive lines of the Super Bowl winning teams going back to, goodness, I don't know, the Cowboys, when it was when you actually heard about guys 300 pounds or heavier being the average, I would not be shocked if the Packers of that year were among the weakest, right? Now, are they a bit better than that? It's hard to gauge because Matt LaFleur is such a good coach, and if he needs to rely on quick release, he will, which I think a lot of that gets hidden in it,
So that's my problem with that. He's such a good coach, and his game plans are always a little bit different, and that's where it's a lot like I don't know, Bill Belichick on defense. Like every week by week, his game plan will be so significantly different than the previous week that it's just like, man, I don't know what they're doing. Good luck. Good luck trying to figure out what that's going to be this week for your team specifically. Like they are absolutely scheming in that way. So for the Jacksonville Jaguars, well, we know that what are the issues that the Jaguars have had in previous weeks? We have to assume that that's what Green Bay is going to lean into. So Green Bay's a good running team. They're top 5 in the league in rushing the ball. The Jaguars defense actually has been reasonably solid at stopping the run. However, they have given up. They have given up a good amount of explosive plays in the run game. So it's like it's either going to be nothing or it's going to be a long run, and there's like no in between as far as the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is concerned. But so this is where this game kind of comes in when I was kind of getting a few of those like stats on it. The Jaguars have the worst defense in the NFL in terms of explosive plays. The explosive plays surrendered over the past 4 games. But they're 27th in the run game, 30th in the pass defense. But Green Bay's offense is second most explosive in the NFL. So that's a bad combination. A defense that gives up, that's very leaky, giving up, going up against an offense who is very explosive and very good at creating those leaks, we'll call.
Well, and be careful with that, Travis, because statistics have their flaw. For one, the Jags missing as many DBs as they have been, more apt to give up explosive plays, right? Playing against the Titans as the Green Bay Packers did, you tend to collect more explosive plays, right? Also the Jags could have more explosive plays if dudes would catch the ball. There's that too. But that's
seven game sample size, and including games with the backup quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. I'm counting. I know the Jaguars have reasons to question those stats. Green Bay also has more reasons to question why they don't have more explosive plays. So it's a weird little situation where I'm just trying to look at, take a step back, and the data says what the data says. So we're hopeful that the reinforcements that the Jaguars will have coming, again, including Tyson Campbell, is going to make this be a better or be a different Jacksonville Jaguars defense, different Jacksonville Jaguars secondary, and then we can kind of have a ball game and just see who has the fighter's chance of winning this bad boy.
And there's that drops the comment I see. Yeah, the comment I see here, Jags need to play a game called first to 30 points with. I don't think that's wrong. There could be there is a scenario to this football game where last team with the ball wins. And of course, that's assuming the Jags catch the football the majority of the time at the very least, right?
So one of the better things about this Jaguars offense, and we've seen it all year long, like we've gone from different weeks, either second best in the league at it being at explosive plays for Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars running game also, and at this current moment in time, I believe the Jaguars offense is 7th in the league in creating explosive plays, but Green Bay's defense is 8th in the league as far as resisting those explosive plays. So now we're going to have a strength versus strength conversation of, okay, cool, BTJ, okay, cool, meet Alexander. Let's see how this goes. Okay, Jaguars running game, meet this Green Bay defensive front. Let's see how this goes. And that's where I have my trepidation kind of comes in. This team is very good at a lot of the things that the Jaguars might actually be good at. As far as so it's going to be strength on strength in a lot of ways. But the one way I think the Jaguars have a potential edge in this game is Green Bay's defense. Well, Green Bay's offense. Let's start there. They're tied with the Tennessee Titans for the 4th worst in the league at turning the ball over, like with 11. Right. With 11. Jacksonville's offense is 5th best in the league with just 7 turnovers. So we have a conversation that can be made. All right, cool. If Jacksonville's if they protect the ball, if Trevor Lawrence does his thing and just continues playing clean football, don't force anything, no fumbles as far as the running backs are concerned, and Jordan Love has one of his off days, or maybe his running backs are fumbling the ball, hey man, that's 14 point difference. Jaguars try to run the ball, shorten the ball game in that way. That there is a few avenues where the Jaguars can win in that way. But the bad news,
you know what this team could really use in that scenario, Travis?
What is that?
A first-round pick that has 6 sacks in the past 7 games. If only the Jaguars
think that would be dope. That would be dope. But then you get on strength versus weakness, man, and that's why I get nervous again. Green Bay lead the league in turnovers, bro. 17 turnovers in 7 games. That's kind of crazy. Meanwhile, Jacksonville is 29th with just 3 turnovers, and one of those is on special teams. So like it's getting dire out there. Right. So it's getting a little deserty. It's getting a little droughty out here. We need turnovers for the Jaguars defense, and that's gonna be the game right there. Like I legitimately believe that as a defensive guy, it's going to come down to turnovers. If Jacksonville can hold on to the doggone ball, and that includes fumbles, because the last time they played against a team that punched the ball out a lot, they fumbled it like 4 times and lost one of them against Chicago. Hey, man, hold on to the ball, play a clean game, and give yourself a fighter's chance. If they turn the ball over, if the Jaguars lose the turnover battle, they lose the game. And I don't see another way around that. And that's just me keeping it 100.
Yeah, no, I hear you there too. Going back to the Dolphins game, this defense looked like a group that could get turnovers. They just didn't. And then the injuries came. I think Eric Armstead's going to be a big deal. I do with that. More for stopping Josh Jacobs, because God knows him ending up there. Not anything I had on the bingo card in the offseason, and he just made it a good offense better. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't see that one coming either, but I was like, okay, I see it as soon as it happens.
Aaron Jones, by the way, I think he's an excellent running back. I think listen, he went to the Vikings because of pettiness, and I'm not mad at that either. But
it's like everybody in that division is just petty, all of them.
Listen, man. I mean, Favre was petty before any of this was cool, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like a lot of what you're saying there, and it was the general gist of it that I was going to go. I can't do it any better. And seeing the clock, then what I'll do with this in mind, it's that time. What you got, Travis? Who you got? Give me a score. Give me a prediction. Let's do the thing.
So I don't see a realistic outcome, a reasonable outcome where the Jaguars win this thing big. But I can see, again, I just gave you guys the blueprint of how the Jaguars win. They play clean football as far as turnovers. They obviously run the ball, and they try to run that clock down to lessen the amount of opportunities that Green Bay's defense is going to have. They are a whole new they're just a different defense. They have to be. They have to get turnovers because their offense is going to need help. But I believe the Jaguars will do that? No, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm never that guy. I'm never going to be a homer as long as I live. They'll have to fire me first. I do believe the Jaguars will lose this game against the Green Bay Packers, and I'd probably say Green Bay by 10. Something like 30-20. I do believe the Jaguars can get up there at least.
I think if the Pack wins it that big, I think they're going to break 30. I'm of the belief that by 21-point thing, woo! I think they're going to supplant the 21 points in this game. I do. I think
they being Jacksonville.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
For me, a 10-point win for the Pack looks like a 34-24. However, I am going to remind the world of Cam Little. I have 34-27 Pack. So yeah.
See, the Jaguars have yet to score 21 points this season and lose the game. So that will be the first time.
But other than the Buffalo beatdown, name me an offense that explosive that could have pulled that off.
An offense that explosive that could have pulled that off.
That the Jags played. And by the way, let's be clear.
Yeah. The Colts. The Colts.
Well, okay, sure. But
34 points.
That offense isn't explosive. They just exploded that day. I hear you. But what saved the day? Cam Little.
Yes.
I appreciate the full circle, by the way. But for me, I would say that the Bears would have fallen into that category had catches been made, right? So
sure, yeah.
That's where I'm at. But yeah, 34-27 is what I got. And I'm willing to say that this game breaks that trend. That's right. I'm saying the Jags catch the ball, ? Or at least BTJ will. How about that?
So you're saying the Jags catch the ball, but they still lose?
They catch the ball better. My over under. If the over under for drops is 2.5, I got the under. How about that?
Jeez. All right. Lord. I thought I was all excited. I thought you were saying Jacksonville was going to win. I'm like, Kyle going out on the ledge. Oh no, he is not.
Don't you?
That I ain't crazy. That mess I ain't crazy.
Oh, now listen. There is.
I hope I'm wrong.
With the way I said it and the way you set it up, 34-27, I'm more committed to than the concept of the Packers winning. So if the Jags win, I think it's 34-27.
Wow. I'm here for it, bro. If they want to prove me wrong, please prove me wrong, because you guys know exactly how I feel about this. I'm Duval till I die, but that don't mean I'm crazy. I don't mean I'm blind. So we're gonna go with that.
But if they manage to get it 27-27, and the Jags have the ball last, you're prepared to rule out that Trevor doesn't find BTJ.
If they score 27 points, then I feel like he's already been finding them all game, and I feel comfortable at that point because I don't think they score 27 points. That's where I am. If they score 27 points, I'm already comfortable.
Hey, you didn't.
I've been proven wrong in my head already. If that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Dude.
So like, yeah, shoot, if they get it 22 points like last week at halftime, I'm like, nope, my prediction's out. Let's go.
Well, hey, listen, fin to me, based. I'm trying to tell you, you about to have a good weekend. That's what I see.
I love it.
Travis, tell the world, man.
Man, I can be found on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes, but more importantly, you can find my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars, bigcatcountry.com. Please save it as a favorite. Take a look at all the articles that we're putting out. You know, whether it's,
if you're on the Duval Dive YouTube
obviously,
channel, by the way, just throwing that.
Yeah, and if you're listening to us from anywhere else, again, as we always tell you, stop the car. Go and like and subscribe. Just make sure you are liking and subscribing. I mean, help us out. Help us keep growing this thing. Get it while it's free, man. We love you for supporting us, and that's the biggest way you can support us is by making sure you are subscribed and liking, maybe even commenting on the pod, listening to us on the pod later, whatever it is, on YouTube, all the places, man. But yeah, all the places. Yeah, find the writings on the bigcatcountry.com where we'll have the post-game recap after the game on Sunday. And also, obviously, we're going to preview every Wednesday. Even in the bye week, maybe we'll do a little something nice for the family. We'll see what happens there.
That's the thought process. We
still
got to keep it up. The pod still got to get made. You know, we still got to get them clicks in the meantime. You ain't wrong, Travis. Of course.
Yes, sir. What about you, man?
I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at the SOTG. Find my work writing on the Fans First Sports Network for not only the Jags, but hey, the Orlando Magic, as we record this, open their season in Miami against the Heat. Check out my Orlando Magic writings for Fans First Sports Network as well. And of course, the Duval Dive YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to the Duval Dive podcast wherever you can. We are powered by Fans First Sports Network for that as well, so make sure you check that out. Obviously, our YouTube partners, shouts to them. And as for me, the black and gold banneret's still a thing. I'm covering basketball now there too, men's and women's on doing some stuff out there too. Make sure you check out the blackandgoldbanneret.com for any of those writings for basketball or football. And then, of course, this weekend, if you're a UCF fan, the Night Shift Live to give you a wrap-up of BYU coming in for UCF homecoming. Boy, did that scheduling backfire.
Yeah.
The team that was predicted to be next to last is now undefeated. And then, of course, this weekend after the Packer game, Travis, you'll be at Everbank, will you not?
I will.
There you go. So live from the stadium, we'll have the Duval Dive live. Look out for that on Sunday. That should be fun. So for my friend Travis D. Holmes of Big Cat Country, I'm Kyle Nash, student of the game. Thank you all for jumping in. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.